Hello friends, welcome to video 2 about public relations as career in 2026. In this video we will cover about two things. One was the old times, how it used to happen before AI, before we saw the impact of internet on all industries, all verticals, and the changes into the marketing, advertising, branding, perception management, image management and all that, and the new times now. And see, I am somebody who has seen this transition from 2014 till now, which is 2026. It's been close to a decade now. And I've seen all the changes, all the variations in the strategy, in the client expectations, in the deliverables expected from a PR agency, from a PR team, and how these strategies have, changed. And if you, as a youngster, if you should look at this career prospect, what are the challenges that people used to face earlier, now they face, and moving ahead. And in my previous video, I had covered that who can become a PR professional, and the answer is anybody. Anybody who is interested in communications, psychology, and they are interested into learning new things, learning about the industry, learning about the clients. They are interested in talking to people, going to events, and some days there can be issues wherein you have to work day and night. It can be traumatic, it can be stressful for some days, but some days you are very happy. But the best part is it is not monotonous, because what you have done today, not necessarily you will be doing it tomorrow or the day after. So some people like this part of the job. So now let's first talk about the old times when it comes to public relations. So when it comes to older times, I had explained the concept of deliverable, which is a media coverage in many senses for the client. I will only talk about the good sense of coverages and the crisis part, and how those things matter, how those things are managed. We will cover those in the later videos. Now, only let's talk about old times and what is expected from an agency. So, an agency or a PR person is expected to give their clients media space, and that media space in the olden times was a channel, a magazine,
newspaper space, maybe a radio space, maybe let's say some event wherein you are sponsoring it and the cause is nice, so that in a way it reflects back to the good position of the company that they are participant of, or they are promoting so and so initiative. So there were 6-7 mediums wherein a client expected the team to have them placed. Now
The point is, going back to the old times, we know with internet and digital media, print publication has had their bad days now, because you would see that earlier it was a coverage in a print media that was the biggest thing for the industry, that was the biggest thing for the team, that was the biggest thing for the PR team, that oh, we have secured a coverage in this, or we have placed our client in a, let's say, a big TV channel or a radio spot. So these things used to matter earlier, because these were the trusted sources of place, trusted sources of placements for the client, and these were the places where perceptions used to be made, where perceptions used to be managed. But then now you see this particular thing is now shifting to the new times, and it is now shifting to digital PR with social media, your websites, your clicks having more value towards other sources of communication. Now, think about it. Now, you and I, we don't hear radio that much. Maybe in tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, people are still into radios. Maybe they are still tuning into radios. Maybe few folks still they tune it while traveling from their offices, or maybe while commuting. But now this entire thing has been taken over by our music subscription, by podcasts, by our social media consumption, by our talk shows. So now even the advertising money is flowing towards these spots, and so is the client's mindset that if my image needs to be in a certain zone, so I need to be seen in those particular spots and spaces. And earlier, the thing is, it wasn't this much decentralized. So, single media person, they used to hold a lot of control over who got the access to these publications, to these spaces, to these pages. and a lot many PRs used to struggle for this. So like a PR's day-to-day activity involves that they have to, you know, read about the industry, read about what's happening for their client, maybe if there is a new announcement, and then they have to reach out to the journalist, and then they have to pitch it. And when they pitch it, it is on the discretion of the journalist if they will take that particular news or not. And when they are denied, then it's kind of a disheartening moment. Then you go to another publication, you go to another publication, and sometimes you get too many no's, sometimes you get a yes. But the struggle continues. For smaller clients it is huge struggle, but for larger clients what you would see is maybe getting a coverage is easy, but then you have to do a lot of relationship building, you have to do a lot of reporting, you have to do a lot of competitor analysis. But for smaller clients, smaller agencies, smaller places, getting these coverages is so difficult because even your budgets are limited. And so this is the one thing. And now when you say the new in new times, so these media coverage placements, they have now shifted to your online news publications, your new age Instagram source based news platforms, your news, your Twitter pages, your podcast placements. They have now shifted to getting your client having their own personal brand, via they also getting spaces at these other places as well. And sometimes even now the clients are happy not to get a coverage in a print space, but they want to be seen at bigger online spaces. Maybe a video interview would do a better job than having a placement in a magazine. And that's why the revenues of the print media is also declining. And if you see the revenues of the online media, they are increasing day by day. That is the reason you see earlier brands used to spend 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs for a PR, but now they spend this much amount for one podcast placement at a Raj Shamani or a Beer Biceps or whatever podcast you want to name, because they know now the credibility and the views and the eyeballs, they lie more with these folks than with these folks like the older times. I'm not saying that the print media has lost its own opportunity, or it is no longer a space which is looked at by the PR professionals or by the clients. But the thing is, with the declining authority of especially Indian national media, they being called Godi media, they being called propaganda pages, they being called anything. So they themselves don't have that kind of a trust. So the clients also do not want to be associated with those platforms. So this shift is remarkable. And now when you come into PR industry and you want to join in as a career, maybe you start off after your graduation. I would suggest one should start off after their graduation in this field, so that you know even if you are cut out for this or not. Because if you do your graduation, you do your masters, you have already spent a lot of years, then when you join the field, you do not like it, you somehow feel like the Jeff Bezos two-door story. This sounds like a one-door story. You cannot go back many times. Maybe you can, maybe you have the family backing, or maybe you are talented in some other field. But the point is, do your graduation, join the field, see if you like it. If you don't, maybe you can move to another field. Maybe you do an MBA and go to full-fledged marketing field. If you're good with numbers, you are good with research and everything. But maybe after graduation you like the space and you continue doing the work in this field. Now, what are day-to-day activities what a PR professional needs to do? Then they need to first of all be updated, so they need to read news throughout the day, read newspapers, find journalists who are writing in the industry, who are writing about what their clients are interested into, what their clients would be, wanting in the next stages. So and then you make your media sheets, and with those media sheets, you keep building relationship with these journalists, you keep having your client meet these journalists. Maybe you have a story to pitch, you sell these to these media folks, and once they do a story, you get a media coverage. Your client is happy. Everybody has their own deliverables. So earlier there were lesser mediums, and now it is newer mediums. Like everybody wants to get a space at Times of India online, Economic Times online, and your Lullen Top and all these are YouTube pages. They are also a prime spot for clients to get a placement. So the shift is gradual, but it is happening. And then there is a one thing called as, you have to be very good at writing, because as a professional You have to write articles, you have to write press releases, you have to write industry stories, you have to write quotes on behalf of your client. That's why I said one needs to be updated about the industry, one needs to be updated about the trending facts, trending things that are happening in their client's industry, so that they are also well aware. And with this, you also need to be well aware about your client, so that while you are pitching them, while you are writing about them, while you are writing on behalf of them, you do not make any kind of mistakes. And a typical day-to-day activity looks like this. Then if you have 4 to 5 clients to manage, then maybe you are also talking about cosmetics, you are talking about automobiles, you're talking about e-commerce, and that's how you grow as an individual. You have folks to lead under you, and then they report to you. Then organizing press conferences, organizing events, inviting media to these press conferences, launch events, sending them gifts, all these are part and parcel. I will cover all this in detail when I would talk about a day-to-day activity and how a day-to-day schedule of a PR professional looks like. But this is just a brief overview about. I do not want to get into too many details. I do not want to confuse you. Henceforth, I am touching and giving you bird's eye view about everything. And in later videos, we will keep diving deep. So, like I said, in old times and new times, I think you would have a fair difference in understanding the changing times and career in 2026. But if you are starting out, I would suggest you should also have understanding of social media pages, and digital PR. The word is digital PR, because now that is where perceptions are being formed. You should know about how micro seeding is done on these social media pages, wherein once you start scrolling, every third or fourth reel, what you read about is a founder, or let's say a company, or let's say an event. So you should know all this is planted by a PR who is sitting behind the curtains and pushing all this. Earlier it was limited to only these folks, and they used to control a lot of power, but it has now been decentralized to these pages. So do not rely only on traditional PR, but and if you are still into traditional PR, I would suggest you move to digital PR. At least have the understanding of what is happening in the social media space and digital spaces. You should know about Twitter trends. You should know about how to get your clients trending in social media and your channel publications, how to partner with these channel publications, how to get your placements done in all the online spaces one could think of. Maybe one should know earlier a post by a publication was enough, but now people need a story to be published in a publication, and then they also need digital push, because that is where the narrative is being formed. You have your Twitter pages, they post about it. You have your Instagram pages, they post about it. You have your Facebook pages, they all are posting about the same thing. Maybe it is starting from the traditional PR, but it's shifting to digital PR. So all this keeps on happening on a daily day-to-day basis. And then about the crisis and other things we will cover on later stages. But if you if so far you have only understood the working of traditional PR, I would suggest you to move to digital PR now. Move to an agency that is managing social media accounts. You should know everything about it, because the time is not far when maybe this thing dies, but this will continue. We will have newer formats, newer channels. AI will take it over. Your creation will be done by AI. Your posting will be done by AI. But you would need a human intervention to decide what, when, and how. So if you're looking as a career in 2026, I would suggest you should start into digital space, have this understanding, and do not rely only on the agencies that only do traditional PR. I advise you to go to a place where they do digital PR also, and you get to learn about it, you get to talk about it. Do not go for a space that only goes for this thing. And if you already have an understanding of social media, kudos to you. If you don't, create a page, start seeing what is working, what is not working, and you would also understand how algorithm pushes certain contents. Like I said, anything you do, anything you see that is getting viral, it is not getting viral organically. There are people like me who are pulling the strings behind the curtain, who are sending out the content, who are sending out the videos, who are sending out the creatives, who are sending the tweets to be posted to form a certain narrative. And all this is part of all this is part of new times of digital PR. And the older times, I mean, you can ask this question to yourself also. Are you more inclined to read on social media or on print publication, you'll get your answer. And mass communication folks, or maybe folks from other backgrounds, if this space excites you, do follow my channel. I will cover many things in depth, many things in detail. Right now, I am not diving deep, but in later stages, this will be an entire journey, and you will become a master into having conversations around this field, social media, marketing, advertising, and everything. So do follow me, and thank you for watching till here. Thank you so much.